After Joshua died, Israel entered a difficult season. The people had no king and often forgot God's laws. Each time they sinned, God allowed their enemies to trouble them. When they cried out for help, God raised a judge. That is, a leader, warrior, or prophet who saved them. These judges were not perfect, but God used them to bring rescue, order, and hope. Their stories show us God's patience and how He works through ordinary people. This video is an expanded look at all the judges, their lives, their missions, and the lessons we learn from them. 1. Othniel, the first judge and the example of obedience. Othniel was Caleb's younger brother, a man with a clean and quiet reputation. Israel had fallen into idol worship and was ruled by a foreign king for 8 long years. God chose Othniel because he was faithful and brave. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he led Israel into battle. His victory brought 40 years of peace. Othniel shows us how God starts his work with people who simply obey him. 2. Ehud, the left-handed deliverer. Ehud was from the tribe of Benjamin, and he had something unusual. He was left-handed. In his time, Israel was under the heavy rule of King Eglon of Moab. God used Ehud's unique weakness as a strength. Ehud made a small sword, hit it on his right thigh where no one expected, and ended the oppression by killing Eglon. His courage led Israel to defeat Moab, and the land enjoyed 80 years of peace. God shows us that He can use even the unexpected parts of us for His glory. 3. Shamgar, the judge with a farmer's tool. We know little about Shamgar except that he killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad, a long stick used to control cattle. This shows how desperate Israel's situation was. Shamgar didn't have an army or a weapon, but he had courage. God used what he had in his hand. His story teaches us that deliverance does not always come from big, loud miracles, but sometimes it comes from simple obedience and bravery with what you already have. 4. Deborah, the prophetess who brought hope. Deborah stands out as the only female judge, and she carried 3 roles: prophetess, judge, and mother of Israel. The people came to her for wisdom, and she listened to God's voice. Israel was suffering under King Jabin and his commander Sisera. Deborah commanded Barak to lead Israel's army, but he refused to go without her. She agreed, but told him the victory would be credited to a woman. Indeed, Sisera was killed by Jael, another brave woman. Deborah shows leadership, wisdom, and courage. She reminds us that God uses anyone, man or woman, to bring freedom and order. 5. Gideon, the weak man. God made strong Gideon came from a small tribe and saw himself as the weakest in his family. Israel was being crushed by the Midianites, who stole their food and left them hiding in caves. When God called Gideon, he was threshing wheat secretly, afraid of enemies. But God saw strength in him. After Gideon tested God with the fleece signs, he obeyed fully. God cut Gideon's army from 32,000 men down to 300 to show that victory comes from God, not human strength. With torches and trumpets, Gideon defeated the vast Midianite army. Gideon teaches us that God can turn fear into faith and weakness into victory when we trust Him. 6. Tola, the quiet restorer. After Abimelech's violent and prideful rule, Israel needed stability. Tola stepped into leadership. Though little is said about him, he led Israel for 23 years with calm strength. His leadership shows that sometimes the greatest impact comes from peaceful and steady guidance, not dramatic battles. 7. Jair, the judge of prosperity. Jair ruled after Tola for 22 years. He had 30 sons who rode 30 donkeys, and they controlled 30 towns. This paints a picture of peace, wealth, and stability. Jair didn't deliver Israel from a great enemy, but he preserved a time of order and growth. His life teaches that leadership is not only about fighting wars, but also about maintaining blessings. These are just 7 judges mentioned. Check out the remaining 7 in the part 2 of this video. Comment your favorite judge and why you like them. Please like and subscribe. Jesus loves you. Bye.